7:01, ISD 7:01 school board meeting to order, February 22nd, 2023 at 4:30 PM Central Standard Time. With that, we'll move item 2, Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand if you wish.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. With that, we'll move to item 3, a motion to approve the agenda. We have one addendum that'll be under Roman numeral 8, item D. And it concerns acceptance. The American Indian AIPAC and district compliance documentation and resolution of concurrence as presented. And this is an annual deal, so it's just formality. Is there a motion to adopt the agenda?
Support.
Moved by Director Polter, supported by Director McLaughlin. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Thank you. With that, we'll move to item 4, motion to approve the consent agenda. Moved by Director Polter, supported by Director Hibbing. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Thank you. With that, we'll move to item 6, personnel.
Public comment. There is no one.
Oh, there's none there.
No one
Item
signed up.
5, there was no public comment. Item 6, thank you. Personnel. A motion to accept the resignation from Gina Hill, pupil support, high school, effective February 24th, 2023.
Someone.
Support.
Moved by Director Nyberg, supported by Director Polter. Any discussion?
Do we know how long she was a school employee?
I would have to look. Not sure.
I'm not even.
So, Chair, Gina's in the gallery, and I'd just like to
Oh, I'm
thank her
sorry,
for her
please.
years. And it's going to be a loss, because she's a valuable asset to our meetings and our school community, for sure. So,
How long
thank
have you been?
Over 10 years.
Over 10 years.
Most of it's not documented as I did by the time you see if
Yeah.
qualified for
Thank you.
Well, thank you for the years of service.
Yes.
Much appreciated. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Thank you. Item B, to accept the resignation from Steve Conant, custodian 1 high school, effective March 3rd, 2023.
Someone.
support.
Moved by Director Nyberg, supported by Director Egan. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Thank you. Item C, motion to accept the resignation for purposes of retirement from Thad Johansson, industrial technology instructor, high school, effective June 2nd, 2023.
So moved.
Support.
Moved by Director McLaughlin, supported by Director Gabarty. Any discussion?
Chair,
Yes.
I'd just like to comment, this is the instructor that we've had on long-term leave
Yes.
for 5 years,
Yeah.
so.
So he never came back to teach, correct? He's going right from his leave to retirement.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Thank you. With that, we'll move to item 7, administrative reports, directors.
I got a few things.
School Director Aiden.
So first off, I'm gonna start off with the pet test. It was a lot of fun. I loved it. The games were pretty fun, especially when you were able to actually, if you were in the stands, you were able to actually go play the games, which was fun. I have Miss Minnesota. She's coming Friday in the morning at 8 a.m. If you guys just want to look at that. I'm not sure how to say her name, but I think it's Rachel Evangelisto, maybe? I don't know how to say her name. Yeah, she comes at 8 a.m. and I think it's like an hour presentation, or I don't know, actually not 100% sure what she's doing. Listening here, I'll move on to sports. Boys hockey plays Monday versus Hermtown at the Amsoil in Duluth. Swimming and diving is Thursday and Saturday. I'm not sure the times on those for sure. Wrestling sections are Saturday. And then so registration, the kids can change their schedules until Friday. I'm not sure what time Friday, if it's just at the end of the day Friday, but there's that for them. Parent-teacher conferences are coming up February 28th and March 8th. The first night, so February 28th, there's going to be a curriculum showcase. So if any parents have any questions about anything, there will be one teacher from each of their certain classes that they have in the halls. So parents can go talk to them and see what that's all about. The students who had perfect attendance, they will have a popcorn party. I'm not sure when that is.
It was last week.
It took place.
Oh yeah, it was. They already had it, I guess.
How many students have perfect attendance?
Was it
51.
51 you said?
Yeah.
That's impressive.
And that's perfect attendance for, since school began this year, or Mrs. Sikora?
I think so.
Is that perfect attendance from when to when?
We do it by quarters. So first quarter we had a perfect attendance party, and now second quarter.
Oh, this is no second quarter,
Yeah.
okay.
Mr. Brown was awarded a grant for $57,000 towards the Career Academies, which was nice. March 8th at 6:15 there will be a Dangers of Social Media presentation in the auditorium for parents and community members. There will be a CPR training. March 20th. There are 20 high school people signed up. And the third quarter is March 28th. There is a plan for a 7th through 9th grade dance, March 31st. The Youth in Action is having a pet supply drive that's in the hall by the counselor's offices over there.
When is that, what's the time period for that?
Till the 27th.
Yeah.
Till the 27th of
Of
this
this
month?
month.
And any
This
kind
month.
of pet supplies
Yeah.
they're taking?
Yeah,
It's
there's a
in the
big
hallway?
box down there, yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's it from me.
That's a lot. Holy cow.
Good report.
Very nice. I had a question. Is it hockey, is it semifinal for boys hockey or final? Semi against,
It was supposed to be tomorrow, but they rescheduled it to Monday.
yeah. I know they're playing Hermantown.
Because they just won.
I
Yeah,
guess
they-
Hermantown decided not to go up to double A. I had heard they were going to.
They did a great job last night with their
I heard.
2-0 win versus
Yes.
Proctor. That was good. I went
That's
to that one.
fantastic.
Yeah, and the band also did great there, playing for the boys. Yeah, that was great to hear. But yeah, that's it from me.
Holy cow.
Any other questions?
Good report, thank you.
Oh, one more question. Who did they get the grant from, the $57,000 grant?
It's the YSD grant, and there were we were one of 12 schools in the whole state that were awarded the grant.
One of 12. And what's it called? The
YST, it's a youth, I'll have to look it up exactly what the acronym.
You something. You told me it earlier. but-
Yes, thank you, Alex. Youth Skills Development.
YSD or T?
D, Youth Skills Development, yes.
So that's a big deal. Do we know what we're using that money for?
We use it to pay students who are on their work internships.
Oh, yeah.
And we use it to pay salaries and for career academies, so it's.
Yep.
It's on top of $100,000 that he already wrote, and so extend it for another 2 years.
That's great.
Okay, very good, thank you. With that, we'll move to principals, assistant principals.
My name is Chad Snyder. I'm the assistant principal at Hibbing High School, and I'll just kind of tee off of what our student director said there. He touched on a lot of the same things I was going to talk about, so he stole my thunder a bit. So I can elaborate a little bit. Yeah, Miss Minnesota will be here on Friday the 24th, and she's going to be speaking to our students about inclusion, as she is the first Indigenous Miss Minnesota. So that'll be a big opportunity for our students. And conferences are coming up, so February 28th, we are going to have a curriculum showcase here at the high school from 3 to 4:30, and our teachers are going to be set up there. Our social worker will be set up there, our Check and Connect coordinators will be set up, and it's just an opportunity for conversations of questions that maybe parents have, like what is Check and Connect? What does our school social worker offer for our students? What is SITS Chem compared to PSEO Chem? You know, it'll be a great opportunity to display all the wonderful classes and offerings we have going on here at the high school. And then following that curriculum showcase, we will still have the traditional conference from 4:30 to 6, so parents can still go up one-on-one private conversations with their teachers. And then March 8th is our second parent-teacher conference evening, and following that program in our auditorium for parents, we're going to have a Dangers of Social Media presentation presented by Dynamic Influence, and that's going to be from 6:15 to 7:15. And then the following day, we're going to have follow-up assemblies, 3 assemblies geared towards various age groups on the same topics. And this presentation will cover bullying, online scams, awareness of social media, and then it'll tee off to each other. So the parents will get what we're going to talk about at the assembly, and then the next day the students will get their presentations. And it's broken up by grades, so we paired up. Grades 5 to 8 will be from 8:30 to 9:30. Grades K4 will be 9:45 to 10:45, and grades 9 to 12 will see the presentation from 1 to 2. And this presentation will appeal to tech-savvy parents or the parent who is technologically illiterate and everyone in between. During this presentation, parents will learn important messages for their child about what they're going to see at the assembly, and it'll talk about popular apps, how to avoid getting overwhelmed with social media, and some best practices to keep kids safe online, and ideas that you can implement in your household in regards to technology and social media, and it will provide some helpful tools and resources for parents and for our students, because I think that's something we all struggle with. You know, it was a challenge getting my 78-year-old grandmother on Snapchat, but now she loves it because she gets to see her grandbabies all the time. She still hasn't figured it out completely, but you know, she's on it. So, what else do we have? Okay, back in January, on January 24th, myself, Joel Anderson, and Tyler Glad attended an ECMEC School Security Summit. That acronym stands for like East Central Minnesota Educational Collaborative something. And it was a conference that had a lot of information for all of us to think about our various roles in regards to school safety, from the tech aspect for Mr. Anderson, from building and grounds for Mr. Glad, and from also buildings and grounds and student safety for myself. They had presentations from other school resource officers, and it was a full day that touched on a lot of topics that I think I could bring some stuff back to Hibbing. And when I returned from that training the next day, I talked to Officer Casey about some of the things that we discussed at this conference and how I'd like to see some changes and do some threat assessments or walkthroughs of our building on how we can make it more safe, given the feedback that I learned from this security summit. So that was pretty fun. And then, yeah, you touched on the celebration of perfect attendance. So one of our goals this year, coming out of the pandemic and going back to a normal school year, is we want students to come back regularly. They got so used to hybrid learning, distance learning, coming in contact with somebody who had a cough, so now you're out for 2 weeks. So this is a normal year, and we're trying to make sure students come regularly and get used to that. And so we work closely with our social worker, our counselors, our Check and Connect coordinators, and county workers to not let our students fall through the crack, we have meetings every week where we go through all of our student attendance data. Mrs. Johnson, our social worker, is huge by pulling kids who have a lot of tardies in and having those one-on-one conversations about why are you late to class, what can we do to get you to class, how can we help you. Because we, again, coming to school and having good attendance goes hand in hand with achieving academically as well. And some of those specific numbers, we had 51 students that had perfect attendance for quarter 2. And we had 12 staff members with perfect attendance for quarter 2 as well. So we printed certificates for them as well. And we got them little Caribou gift cards. And we want to recognize the staff that are showing up consistently. I was not one of those ones with perfect attendance. I have a 3.5 and a 1.5-year-old who got RSV, flu, everything basically. So, you know, it's hard for those with young kids, but those staff that come every day, they're a consistent just beacon for the students. And yeah, a small token of appreciation, the popcorn got the kids out of class for 10-15 minutes, and it was this awkward, I'm recognizing you for being perfect and going to school, but you're pulling me out of class. Like, do I sit here and enjoy this? Can I go back? I'm like, sure, do whatever you want. Let's hang out for a bit, or you can go back to class. And it was a lot of fun, and it made the hallway smell like popcorn instead of teenage
Smell.
yeah, odor, if you will. So that was nice. And then additionally, we are hosting regions for swimming and diving this Thursday and Saturday. Thank you.
I've got some
Oh,
questions for
yeah.
When you said that presentation for dangers of social media, can you list those 3 groupings again?
Yeah, it's going to talk about,
I mean like the grade levels that you have
Oh,
in those
yeah.
groups?
so grades 5 through 8 are going to be at 8:30 to 9:30. Grades K through 4 will be from 9:45 to 10:45. And grades 9 through 12 will be from 1 to 2.
So my question with that is each session the same presentation?
I think my
No.
interpretation is they
Okay.
cater it to.
That's what I was hoping you
No.
was gonna say,
Yeah.
because
That's why you-
these
that's-
younger kids are
Yes,
not
that's
gonna,
why,
yeah.
Yeah, they're not gonna, yeah, they won't talk about Bitcoin or cryptocurrency with the kindergartners, but yeah, they will cater it to each of the kids, and that's why we met as a district leadership team and figured out what grades are appropriate to group. And so that's why you're gonna see some of the 5th graders from the Lincoln be grouped with our 7th, 8th graders. That's more of like a middle school kind of a feel.
Perfect.
Jen,
Yeah.
and you know, I just think it would be helpful, I'm sure it will be advertised on Parent Square and probably on social media, but if there's any way we can get it out into the community, I think, you know, there's a lot of people that could really benefit from it. And people that support young students in our community that may not be on Parent Square or other medias.
Yeah, we'll definitely use every avenue we can to blast that out, you know, social media, Parents Fair,
and
email.
we sent a letter to all of our parents as well.
Yeah,
But I mean,
But
beyond
people
our
that-
parents.
Beyond parents, yeah.
Yes, so it will go to our Facebook page, and I don't know how, I mean, Marie's not here, but I'll call Marie too to come and do a story on it.
That'd be awesome.
That'd be great. And there's the community calendar thing in the newspaper that maybe they can put a little blip.
yeah,
Yeah.
good suggestions, thank you very much.
I have a question.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, we were talking about security of the buildings. We
Mhm.
went to that conference. Just a question, and I don't know if you have the answer or not, but have we done and do we regularly do lockdown drills in this building
We have to
for
by law.
active shooter
Yeah.
and all that?
Mhm.
We have to by law?
We have to do 5 every year, just like 5 fire drills, 5 lockdown drills, and 1 tornado drill.
Yeah, I want to say we've already done 3 lockdowns so far. I have a
Yeah.
spreadsheet, but yeah, we have to do lockdowns, implement weather drills, fire drills, all of those things by law.
Okay.
we
So
try to do them.
everybody's pretty used to, you know, if an active shooter were to get in the building, we know exactly what to do. Correct? Pretty much,
As
as
best
as
we
best.
Yeah, as best we can.
As
So-
best we can,
Mhm.
right, okay. Yeah. I just, you know, I just hate for us to not
And
know
we
what,
do, we have crisis manuals.
We did have a lockdown, we talked about it when I spoke last time, a couple months ago.
oh, okay,
We
yeah,
had a lockdown that was not a drill, everything was fine, it ended up being nothing, but the response time, we discussed it before, was very fast from PD. I think
Okay.
from when Renee messaged me to when we had everybody here, it was like 5 minutes.
Awesome.
At the most, like
Yeah.
everybody, we
Yeah.
had like 13 officers here.
Right, and I know we've made improvements in the locks on doors, right? Now we can lock every classroom and,
And what's brand new since Mr. Snyder and Mr. Anderson went to this security training, we get notified every time there's a door propped open for more than 10 minutes.
yeah, that
So
was
that's-
awesome.
That's a brand new thing, so I can
Yeah.
go check doors and.
Right. And just on that, I followed up with them because there was a door, I was testing some of them too, so I found that some of them, just the nature of, the building and the doors, that it was open and it wasn't 10 minutes, but it notified me that it was open for more than 10 minutes. So it was maybe 30, 45 seconds, because I was just testing it. 'Cause
And
I-
it still notified you?
They still notified me, said that this door was open for more than 10 minutes, even though it was about 45 seconds. And so I went up to Joel today, and so he's gonna be reworking through all the doors and checking the tech lingo that he used
Yep.
to program the doors and just make sure that everything is on the up and up. As
Yeah,
he said, it was something that after this conference he did implement, so there are gonna be little ripples as we learn and
Yeah.
improve down the line.
I mean, I
so.
think we've made a lot of
In
improvements.
safety.
In the years I've been on the sport, wow, have we done a lot.
So, do we have that
Yes.
capability in all our schools or just the high school?
Same
The
thing.
door.
Same thing at Washington.
Any of the electronically keyed doors that we have to use to access, those give us alerts. And we do have some of those within single buildings for the exterior doors, but also between buildings like Washington to ELC.
If they're propped open.
Yep,
Okay.
you get alerted, a lot of alerts sometimes
I'm sure it's
throughout the
probably
day.
Yeah.
a pain initially because it's a learning curve, but it'll be worth it.
Thank you.
I got one more for
Oh,
you.
okay.
We talk about giving information out to people that aren't really associated with students. Have we ever talked about doing anything with HPAT? I mean, do we have a list of, can we give them a list of what's going on at the school as far as events and calendar? And they can put it on their page
Oh,
and
yeah.
that goes every day. I mean, a lot of senior people watch that,
That's a great idea.
so.
Yeah, it's all good input, because again, I'm on the polar opposite of all of, I'm on the Facebook
You
and
know
Twitter
everything,
and all
yeah.
that other stuff, so
Yeah.
I don't rely on print media, and so it's good to hear that kind of a perspective.
You're talking about filming the whole session.
No, I'm talking about, they have their page on channel.
Oh, where they
They
have
roll through.
announcements, yeah.
And they-
Yeah, because
Yeah.
this Dynamic Influences does have like a cool, like a poster, if you will, like advertising what it is and what it offers, and so that would be something easy to pop up.
Do we film the session, something like that, or not?
I don't think we
I don't know if
do,
they would allow it or not.
Oh, maybe.
because that's their like
they-
creative.
Yeah,
Right,
yeah,
they get paid for it.
yeah.
One more update on the Washington DC trip, we have over 40 kids signed up.
40?
Wow.
Wow.
That's
Yeah,
wonderful.
so that's, it is.
Fantastic.
When's the deadline?
I think we have 100 days still.
Oh,
Yeah.
great.
Any other questions?
Very good, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Chair and Directors, just an update for you. I typically do a presentation electronically, but I'm not able to do that tonight. So quickly ran and made copies of the presentation. We have pages of those slides. Just want to give you a brief update on some progress throughout the year. I kind of give you an update each year on data and how kids are performing, reading, math. Just an overview. We have really focused on creating and supporting a multi-tiered system of supports for our students throughout all grades. With that, we have universal testing in reading and math through our STAR testing. It's our localized test. And those are benchmarks that happen fall, winter, and spring each year. Basically, we kind of look at those as going into the doctor as a checkup. Where are you at? What's your baseline? If further screening is needed, we've been implementing or utilizing fast bridge testing for reading and math. And really that's based on the student's target scores, whether or not they would be further tested. This is really just a deeper dive into the student's specific needs and helps to lay out the learning paths to build upon. From that, students may meet or be grouped into small groups for interventions, which are provided by the classroom teachers. Typically, and you don't get to see the blue, green, yellow chart today because it's in black and white. But those are our green, blue, and some yellow students. Green would be students that are definitely on track. Blue would be students that would be just kind of on that threshold of being on target. Yellow and red would be students that need intervention supports. Title I and interventionist instructors really target the yellow and red groups of students with specific learning paths of instruction. Excuse me. And obviously special education staff provide additional instruction based on the specific student needs in their IEPs. If you turn to the next page, each year, and this is really just specific to our K2 settings, just letting you know what our building goals are for this year. We set these at each level in the fall by basically K2, Lincoln, and then high school staff. But for K2, 75% of our students will achieve at the 50th percentile, which is a target score or skill level expectation. During COVID, we lessened that to the 40th percentile, just based on expectations of students and learning loss. We are back to pre-COVID numbers and expectations right now. We really want to push to see those students return to those numbers and those levels that we're achieving at. And our buildings as a whole will achieve at the 50th or at 50 student growth percentile or higher in both math and reading. Both of those are nationally normed, so all the students that are taking the STAR test and our fast pitch testing, they're compared against students throughout the nation. And they come up with these figures for us. We set the bar a little bit higher at the 50th percentile than STAR does. They default to the 40th nationally. We've found that this equates closer to the rigor of MCA testing for students as they get into third grade and on up. It really helps us determine who our students are that are going to be MCA ready, having the skills needed to perform those tests at a proficient level. And our benchmark data that I'm going to share with you is really just a snapshot from our winter benchmark window that ended on June 20th, ran from the 9th to the 20th. So if you turn to the next page, I just grabbed one grade level. This is a group of students that took the kindergarten early lit test at the Washington. We tracked all of our students. This is really a big overview look at how our students fared out. You can kind of see the comparisons of growth from fall, where to the left, those would have been green students. In the middle there, kind of dark shaded as blue. And then you have your yellow and reds. As you can see by the percentages, those that's tested in the third week of September into the first week of October, 42% of our students achieved proficiency. Now as we tested in January, which was basically a month ago, 54% are proficient. And as you look down the chart there, you'll see that our blue group of students, there are more students in, that's kind of snipped, I hope it didn't do that on yours, but we have, we went from 23% of our students that were in blue to 20% in blue in the winter, reducing our yellows and reds as well as we went. So it's just kind of like to share this with staff because sometimes when they're in the trenches, they don't realize all the growth that's happening throughout the year. They're working very diligently with the kids and they're looking at very specific data on students and their individual growth. So it's nice for them to reflect and take a look at how are we doing as a whole system? How are we doing as a building? And we also use this data to compare our two sites. Some of that you'll see on the next page. Actually pulled data from both Greenhaven and Washington. As I told you earlier, our goal was at the end of the year to hit that growth median of 50% or target of 50. Both schools are hovering right at that now, and that was at January. So I would expect that to grow significantly by the end of our year. We will probably, well, I would stake my career on us being above the 50th to end our year, which is our goal by the end of the year, to be above that. As far as proficiency goes, for our students in early lit, we want our students to be at the 75th percentile. You can still see there's a bit of lag there.
Where are we looking,
this-
or are we on this page?
It says early lit GES West.
Yep.
Yep.
And where are we lagging, did you say?
The proficiency or rigor of kids being able to attain that 75th percentile. So if you look over on the left axis, you'll see we're at 48 or 47%.
Oh, okay.
We want to be up around the 75th percentile. That's a very lofty goal. That was higher than we've expected of our students in the past, but that's where we want our goal to come out at down the road. We may or may not achieve that this year, but it's sure something we're going to strive towards. If you turn the page to just those that qualify for reading. So those students that take the early lit test, a strong indication of them being ready and having those pre-reading skills to tackle the rigors of reading. Once they hit that 852 mark as a target score, you don't really see that on this. That kind of is reflected on the first blue, green, and yellow, red chart on the left axis. But once they've attained that 852 mark, then it's pretty certain that they're going to do well on the reading test. And a lot of that really checks for comprehension, which in pre-reading, you're working on phonics, phonemic awareness, blending of letters. You can see our scores down below by buildings, from Greenhaven to the high school to Lincoln to Washington. One of the things I really take a lot of pride in is that when you look at all of these schools, when you see, it doesn't matter what level a student comes in and they can attain, but if they can show that they're growing faster than other kids across the nation, our staff are doing a really good job. Because a student could come in at this proficiency level, but if they're gaining above that mark of 50, that means they are making gains in their learning faster or becoming more equipped than others in the nation. So when these marks come out and they're to the right of that 50 mark, that's a really good indication that our staff, no matter what level they come in, they're helping them progress beyond others.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Hibbing High School has a proficiency of 38%, so that's below the 50. So it's
So
weird
that would be
because,
proficiency.
so the kids are coming from the Lincoln that has a pretty high, above 50% proficiency.
And
the high
and not
school's
all students take the
38.
reading, correct?
Is there a reason for that? Is there something with special ed or,
Could be part of it.
do you know?
Not all students are going to take the reading test and STAR either. So it's more than likely students that are in remediation or receiving interventions at this time. They may be lower skilled readers already. But again, when you focus on that group and you take a look at the score to the right, the growth median, the SGP.
The growth is the important thing.
Absolutely.
But I'm just concerned that the proficiency has now gone down to 38 when you hit the high school.
Pretty typical as kids go up in age.
Oh, that they
To
get
be
less
honest.
proficient, okay.
Yep, those
All right,
proficiency
that
levels.
kind of makes sense to me a little bit.
Yeah.
Thank you.
If you turn to the next page, it reflects math. And again, at the high school, not all students are going to take the STAR math test. The students at the high school will take the MCA tests in math. They will take reading tests, I don't recall what grades, 8th, 7th, 8th, and 10th.
Yes.
I've been out of the MCA loop a bit for a while, but trying to recall. So those are the measures that the high school is typically using to gauge student growth and learning. We use STAR testing, and we also use FastBridge. It kind of gives us more immediate results. Our students are still learning to read, as they get older, they're learning, taking that learning or that reading to learn approach now. So to like pull out high school and say, ooh, that number is really low and really we need to bring that up a lot. I can't say with confidence what that number fully reflects, but I can say at the elementary, K2 especially, and at the Lincoln, all of our kids are using both of these tools for learning and assessments. So some, again, very nice trends here when we take a snapshot in January, and the growth of our students above the 50, and really we're creeping up to that 70%, 75% I should say, in proficiency already by this time of year. Pretty amazing. Shows you the difference in something that can be learned linear and reading that is something that is extremely abstract for our learners to learn, and a challenge to find that those keys to success. So it's a nice forecast for right now, and we'll have updates at the end of the year. Again, next year we will review our data and reflect on our goals, and I would assume they'll either stay the same or be increased as we go. Just an update on some of the Washington upcoming events and activities. February 27th, we're doing something a little bit different. In the fall, Washington Elementary invited families to come to our fall fun night. And this year we are going out into a neighborhood, bringing the fun to a neighborhood, and we are trying to be a lot more inclusive. You know, you meet people in their backyard, they're more apt to come out. So we're gonna go over to Bryan Lake Park, or many of you probably know the Jefferson area and the rink there. And from 3:30 to 5:30, we'll have snowshoeing, s'mores, skiing, and much more for families to enjoy and get out to see their teachers and us to get to see them in a different light. Hopefully more families will participate in that. So we're trying to branch out a little bit and try something a little new. March 2nd and 8th, our K6 and K12 conference nights. March 3rd, we'll be kicking off our American Heart Association Challenge with Jump Rope for Heart at the Washington. I don't recall, I think it's tomorrow, Greenhaven has their kickoff. Throughout the month of March, we will have many I Love to Read incentives and activities being hosted and planned throughout the month each week. April 27th will be the Washington Spring Music Concert. Greenhaven held the Winter Music Concert this year. And May 25th is slated for our Track and Field Day. This is offered to Greenhaven, Assumption, and VCA schools to all participate in. Typically it's Greenhaven, Washington, but we keep asking and hoping that other schools would join. Spring gets to be very tough, so other schools also have many of their own plans. And of course, we are stronger together. Any questions or comments from you? Thank you.
Sorry to interject one more time. He sparked a couple things. So two more quick things for me. This semester we did start a new reading and English support class at the high school, and Kate Biesman is the one who really took the reins on this, and so she developed a class where she utilizes MCA and STAR data, and she screens and selects specific kids who are right on the cusp, like not quite really low but not quite high achieving, to kind of bump them along. And so it's an English elective, and it utilizes a reading program called FastBridge, and it increases their specific reading skills and to support them to try to get them back on track and being proficient. And so this is kind of our pilot program this semester, and we're looking to expand it in the future to improve reading at the high school. So that is a problem that we have identified that we want to better. And then lastly, on behalf of Principal Sikora and myself, Gina, thank you so much for all your years of service. You will be missed at the high school, so thank you again.
Very good, thank you. Good reports. With that, we'll go to item C. Excuse me, item C, any committee reports? Treasurer
Yeah,
McLaughlin?
I'll just, you know what, I guess part of this is a director's report, I just want to touch on, but one of the things Director Gabbard and myself attended since our last meeting was the World's Best Workforce Committee meeting. And I don't want to get into the details, but I was really impressed to see the goals, the measurable goals that we have. And so, you know, along the line of what Principal Berg said is that's really going to help the growth in our district. The other thing I did is I went to game night at the Green Haven. That was pretty exciting. There were a lot of families there doing a lot of fun things, so that was good. And then last week, one day, I had an opportunity to stop in at the Early Learning Center during the day and to see the fruits of the work of everybody and all those little people. It was absolutely amazing. And so a lot going on in our district, a lot of good things.
Just to piggyback off of the World's Best Workforce, and again, my first time being involved with it, I love that there was such a variety of staff there, but everybody was very engaged. It wasn't just a silent grouping of people. They all had wonderful ideas, and it was nice to kind of hear directly from them their perspective on things and where they would like to see those students go. So I thought it was interesting. It was good.
Very good, thank you. With that, we'll move to item 8, administrative business. Sir Alex?
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
You're welcome.
Item A is a motion to approve the facility use agreement with the City of Hibbing for the period August 1, 2023 through July 31st, 2026.
Home vote.
Support.
Moved by Director Egan, supported by Director McLaughlin. Any discussion?
So,
Go
no,
ahead.
you go ahead.
Ladies
I
first.
just got a copy of this, and my first question, it says Memorial Building parking lot. So for 23, 24, it's $7,500 for us to rent the lot. We plow that lot, or did we plow it?
They plow it.
So that's included in this cost, you know?
In the 75.
Yeah.
I believe so, yeah.
So we pay no for the kids to park there, huh?
I guess.
We never did it,
Well, and we're paying for the snow removal.
yeah. I guess, I mean, you have to, otherwise the neighbors around the high school,
And it's plowed.
then tons of
early.
problems.
It's plowed as early as any street in town.
Yeah.
Well, there must be something, because I have an email from Tyler, and he said, I'm okay with them charging us a minimal fee for snow removal, but not what is projected in year 3 of this agreement and going forward.
So you think that's high, maybe? Does he think that's too high for snow removal, or is that what he's saying?
Well-
5,000 now, and now we're going to 7,500,
Right, that's a big bump.
and then 10,000 in 2 years. A lot of money is a lot of snow to be removed,
Yeah.
if that's what it's for.
But if you want, I'll also read a little bit more of this, because I asked a lot of questions around this agreement. He said for the parking lot, they are planning on mailing up and replacing the blacktop within the next several years. This is another one that once the project is completed and our next agreement is up, we will look at very closely. So it looks like they're looking to do some improvements also.
But we're
Who is,
paying
the
for
city?
improvements.
The city? We never requested those improvements, so, I mean, it's great, but
Just part of the parking lot, so we have to be.
I guess, yeah. I don't know, that seems like a big bump.
You have to
Historically,
pay for a parking sticker.
We don't have our kids pay for a parking sticker, right?
I don't
They
think
do in
so.
every other school, I know, they do in the cities. If you wanna drive to school, you pay for a parking.
Like you said, the last 5 years, any idea?
I can tell you, last year was $5,000.
Yeah, last.
Just for parking lot? I don't have it in front of me, sorry.
I feel like the city's a little bit taking advantage because they know we need it.
Yeah.
You know, our kids need something.
And it is, I mean, I'm not saying I think we should charge the kids, I don't, I think it's nice that we do it for the kids, we provide them a parking lot. But, I don't know, that just seems a little high.
I think it's high, I guess.
You don't think it's high?
I honestly don't. When you look
Okay.
at the number of cars that park over there every day.
I suppose.
We don't have a place for them.
No, we
We
don't.
aren't gonna let them park in neighborhoods. And,
There was nothing but problems when they parked in neighborhoods, and I don't think, I think a few still park here and there, but not much.
there's certain areas you can't park on the school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess,
Renting a huge parking lot, I mean, that's
I guess.
500-600 cars probably or more, I don't know.
You think
There's
so?
a lot of cars parked there during that school,
Yeah.
a lot of them.
But not all of our students, there's public parking in there too, so.
So some, yeah,
We got the current club and the service quarters and.
that all comes with their rent though too. They're paying
Yeah, I
some
know.
for that, we're not paying for the whole thing.
the question I have is, if it's $7,500 for the city to plow it, what would it cost an independent contractor to come and plow it for the school versus them? Or would they be allowed to do it on a public?
We're doing the union territory then, because that's a union job that's doing that, and they haul that snow away. It's not piled up there.
Asking the question. Same with the soccer field. They want to charge us $175 for the use of the soccer field. Well, we just built a multi-million-dollar complex out here for soccer to play on.
I was gonna say that we'll still have this, if we need field space, but we'll need so much less field space now.
I'm not trying to get in trouble with the city, believe it or not. It's just, these numbers seem to be pretty shocking odd when you look at it.
And you know what, and I agree with you, when I saw this, I just kind of went, just because, we're all faced with tight budgets, and the city is too, right? And when you look at the increase at the memorial building, but having said that, what's the real cost of ice time per hour? It's probably a lot more than folks have been charged, right? But yet, on the one side, what does that do to our school budget? If you're talking about an increase in $36,000 in renting the memorial building, and another how much?
Well, I asked some questions around that also, and so it sounded like Mr. Turner and Tyler also did some hockey comparisons at other arenas. But I still had questions around it, because based off of their comparison, and Alex, I don't know if you can speak more to this or not, looking at these numbers, it looks great. It looks like, okay, we are still, better than some local areas, arenas here, that what they're charging. But my comment is all the arenas listed on here, minus one, has more than one ring. We just have one. And really, it comes down to the hours. What do we get for this cost? If again, these other schools, if they're paying a little bit more, maybe they're getting more hours, and that's what it comes down to. And I can tell you, from kids in skating, kids in hockey, we're always fighting for ice time. If you can't get it because it's already used.
Where are you
So-
seeing the list of other schools' rates?
I requested this.
So that would
this
be
is-
nice if we all had that in our hand.
I have some notes on it.
So how does Hibbing stand compared to,
We can get that from Tyler.
how does Hibbing stand compared to
Looking at this right now, we're way low.
like
Minus-
what we're
minus
paying
one.
is way low than what other,
Just looking at this.
you're right, from
Yep.
what other Iron Range towns are paying to
Minus one,
to rent their arena.
yes.
Except who?
Brand new or?
Greenway,
Except Greenway pays less than we do.
yes.
Okay.
And Virginia's a brand new arena.
And there's two,
Grand Rapids, brand new arena.
Two.
And is that a per hour?
But they're higher
rate
than
you
us.
can't?
Not
Or
much.
you,
I don't
Not
believe so, Alex, right? This is just an annual
Yes.
comparison.
and I'm not suggesting that it doesn't cost the city that much, because I'm sure it does cost the city that much, and we have to pay our fair share, but in the same token, we're trying to balance our budget, and this is gonna be a big incremental cost.
I asked too the question of, with this increase, what does that mean for the cost of our students, athletes playing sports? Mr. Aldrich had said that currently there's no discussion on raising the cost, but that was my concern is, we always want kids to play, but if they continue to go up in price, it's hard for people to afford to play.
We have scholarship money though for that.
Okay,
We have a fund for that, I know.
nice.
Keith Turner could tell us more about that,
But
but
the last thing on here is the gate revenue. Who gets the gate revenue? Do they get the gate revenue or do we?
I think
just-
we've always got it.
I think we could,
Okay.
we get the gate, they get the concession. Some, or
No,
they
Sullivan
don't,
gets the
Sullivan
concession.
gets the concession.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, just-
Well, are we ready to vote on this tonight? or do we have too many doubts and questions? I don't
We
know.
could table it for,
Or maybe we are ready to vote, I don't
I've
know.
had my questions. I just wanted to make it clear to the,
it seems
the
like
public.
they're in mind, so.
Uh, Well, yeah, it just would have, the sheet she had, I would have liked to have in front of me, but,
Like, ask Tyler for one, but
yeah.
it seems like we're not a whack there, so.
As long as we're not way
Mr. Chair,
higher.
could I say something?
Sure.
Forgot you were there.
John, I apologize, members of the board, I apologize I'm not there tonight and having a very difficult time following your conversation. I can hear from the podium, but I can't hear you at your table. But what I can say and what I do know is that this has been a very long process, this negotiation with the city, and Mr. Egan, I think, and Mr. Polcher are aware that we had some conversations prior to the new year when we negotiated this one-year agreement, and I had some concerns at that time. And I definitely have some concerns with the increase in costs that you're seeing in those numbers today. But I do think, in looking at the entire proposal as a whole, this is also including what we would be charging the city to use our facilities. I think we are getting a fair deal. I wish we could keep that same deal of $53,000 a year and just roll that ahead forever. But I don't think it's realistic with the increase in cost, the increase that the city has. And I look at our alternatives. Let's say, for instance, that we decided, no, we're not going to approve a facility use agreement with the city. I don't know what Plan B is, other than building our own arena, and I don't think that's feasible at this time. So, but we certainly, if the board has individual questions that they would like readdressed, I think we could bring that back to the city and answer those questions for you. But this agreement was negotiated over quite a long period of time, a number of months, and it was negotiated in good faith. So again, I mean, at the will of the board, whatever you would like to do, I'll make that happen. But I think this is a fair deal. Not a good deal, but a fair deal.
We'll take it to a vote then, as long as that much time has been spent, so. All in favor, say aye.
I don't think we
If
have
you
a
have
motion.
a motion.
Yeah, I thought we had a motion. Huh? Yeah, we had a motion and a second.
Oh, okay.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. It carried, Rick. So, thank you, good discussion. Like, we can address it maybe somewhere online too, if something else changes.
I think we have to work closely with the city and, kind of come up with a plan for Hibbing,
Maybe plan.
a united plan.
Item B is a motion to award the base bid in the amount of $233,733 to Range Cornice Roofing Company for the Lincoln Elementary School re-roofing project.
So moved.
Moved by Director Nyberg, supported by Director Polter. Any discussion?
Well, you know what I'm gonna ask?
Is that the last one?
Is that the last one?
How many more roofs do we have to
There's never-
replace? Oh my God.
You asked about the last roof.
It's
the
never
last
done,
payment.
right? It's never done.
Last payment.
It's never done. I think I approve a new roof every meeting.
Yeah, for the summer.
Yeah.
It's every season, every year.
Yeah.
It's part of, it's just
It's
long.
unbelievable.
And you have to maintain these roads.
Which is a good thing that we're doing.
It's a good thing we're
every year.
maintaining, yes. You don't need,
Stick, it's that one, you could stick a couple of years and save a few bucks,
yeah,
but what's the cost then?
yeah,
Could lose a couple bucks.
yeah, right.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried, thank you.
Item C is a motion to approve changing the school board meeting time from 4:30 PM to 3:30 PM effective with the March 8th, 2023 school board meeting.
Support.
Moved by Director Polter, supported by Director Nyberg. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Aye.
Let it show that Director McLaughlin and Director Duarte voted no. Motion carries, because 4-2. Thank you. So the next meeting will be at 3:30 PM on March 8th.
Item B motion to accept the American Indian Education AIEAC district compliance documentation and resolution of occurrence as presented.
Moved. Support.
Moved by Director Hibbing, supported by Director Polter. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Thank you. With that, we move to discussion items. A, notice of desire to negotiate with Hibbing United Educators. Rick, you want to comment on that?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I believe you said that just a comment on the desire to negotiate from Q, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, thank you. Yes, this is just common protocol at this time of year. We should be getting intents to negotiate from all of our bargaining groups in the next couple of months or so. And, as we have done in the past, I think it's in the district's best interest to see what happens in the legislative session before we get too deep into negotiations. So I might meet with Hugh and other groups as they come forward in the next couple of months just to have some preliminary discussions on language, but we would not commit to anything really until we know what's going to happen at the legislature.
So this is just a formality for now?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Is there a motion? Oh,
I had something else to
yeah,
discuss.
that's just
when we're
discussion. Yeah. Okay, Rick, go ahead.
This is a picky thing, but, and every time I bring something up about the school calendar, nothing ever happens. But I've brought this up before. Ash Wednesday should not be listed on our school calendar. Right? That's a religious holiday. It's been on there every single year.
That's not a holiday.
Well, it's a religious event.
Event.
And why is it sitting on our school calendar? It just shouldn't be there.
I just
Well,
noticed that
it's just a picky little thing, but, and I've asked for it to be removed a year ago, and it still appeared again this year, so,
I just saw that for the first time.
yeah. Well, I mean, let's do things right around here, or try to, as right as we can be.
Then could we put any of the holidays?
That's what I'm just asking, if we're gonna take a holiday, it's not a holiday, but I understand Christmas is and Easter is. Does it be, are they really Easter a holiday? One day. Ash Wednesday is one day.
Ash Wednesday, just, it seems way too minor to appear on our school calendar. The other ones seem more major. I don't know what everyone else thinks.
I think it should stay.
That's fine, but then we
Mr. Chair, can I comment really quick?
Sure. Go ahead.
And Director Nyberg, I appreciate that comment, and to be honest, I don't think it needs to be on our calendar. The reason that it is on our calendar is because we always put it there as a place mark because we don't want to hold conferences on that night. So it's just kind of a reminder for us not to schedule anything on that evening. But I think we're good enough and smart enough that we could do that without having to list it on the calendar. So if you and the board would like that removed, we can certainly remove it.
Well, we still have religious release days too, so,
but like I said, those are major religious holidays.
no, I'm talking about release, their school days.
Release,
Yeah.
the release.
So I don't know, any thoughts? What do-
Well, the religious release is any religion.
No, I mean, now
Or what,
putting this on the calendar, leave it on or not, I don't know.
it's just it's a picky little thing that just kind of irritates me, that it's on there.
Rick said just a bookmark is all it is.
Yeah, it's just,
I suppose it depends on if you actually participate in Ash Wednesday or not. I think for those who participate, it probably
Yeah, it's a
isn't
reminder.
something minor, but for those who don't, it would be, so I think it just
I do
depends.
participate, but I still don't think it should be on
Just
there.
depends on
Yeah.
who participates.
Well, when the next calendar comes along, we can.
We'll talk about it again. It'll be on there next year, I guarantee.
Might as well make a
Yeah.
vote, we're talking about tonight, make a motion whether to keep it on or not. Take a vote on it.
Well, it wasn't on the.
It's not on the,
We'll put it on next week.
We'll put it on next agenda. That way it'll come to fruition one way or the other. Okay, did you hear that, Rick?
I got it.
I'm sorry I didn't, John.
I got it.
We're gonna put it on the next agenda whether to keep it on or not.
And also,
Okay, and we also, the calendar is ready to approve, and it might be at the next meeting that we would approve that, but if you'd like to discuss the Ash Wednesday first, I'll just move it ahead, or move it to the following meeting.
But it's not a holiday, I mean, it's not a holiday that we have like off of school. It's not a day off. So
and it's not a national holiday.
why would, I mean, like, why would it be on there anyway if it's not
Exactly.
that we're not out of school?
Right.
I mean, we could put, you know, if somebody wanted to get picky about it, we could be putting 200 other days on our
Other
calendar as well.
special religious celebrations, right?
Right, and, you know,
I thought we just had like holidays on there that the school recognizes as
Federal
school
holidays.
holidays.
Well, I think we have to put the federal holidays, which some are religious, right?
But we're probably not in session for those
Right.
days. But this one, we are in session, so why do we have
for
it on
everyone.
there?
I don't know.
That's what it is.
But my other
So,
thing,
Mr. Chair,
Yes,
many of the holidays that are on our calendar are related to contractual language. Ash Wednesday is not. So again, the only reason Ash Wednesday is on there is it's a place marker for myself and the other people within the district that work on the school calendar, just as a reminder that we don't hold conferences on an Ash Wednesday. We made an error the first year that I was there, that we had some conferences on Ash Wednesday, and some members of the community were upset with that. So I've been cognizant of that and make every effort not to schedule events on that evening. So, but if we can easily pull it from the calendar, it has no bearing on anything that we do other than that place marker for me, just to remember Ash Wednesday is a day maybe to stay away from.
we'll take a vote on it at the next meeting.
Okay, thank you.
you know, and
Thank you.
the other thing, John, with the calendar, is that I've been asking every single year that Hibbing get a week break. A Monday through Friday week break. For families to take vacations. You know, we don't have that week break.
But
No, let me just say, Duluth, because my nephews are there, they're off this whole week, Monday through Friday, and they are off another full week in April. They have 2 weeks that families can go on trips if they
How
want,
many
if they
days
choose.
of school do they have?
But
We have no week in Hibbing, Minnesota.
But I think it's contractual, because if you
Yeah.
look in the Hibbing United Educators contract, there's like a certain number of consecutive weeks, and jump in if I'm wrong, but there's a certain number of consecutive weeks that are in that bargaining agreement. So that, coupled with the number of days of school we need to have for
And
the
snow
state,
days.
plus PLCs, like, there aren't enough consecutive days if we take another week off.
Well, then that's something that I think that we should discuss when we negotiate with the teacher
Come up with
contract.
negotiations, right.
That
We'd have to
we
extend
really,
we'd have to extend it on the front or the back end of the school calendar
Yes,
to get
and-
those number of days in.
And that's in the contract right now.
Right.
right, but that would be something I would personally like to see us negotiate with the teachers.
Teachers might actually like that, so they don't
Well,
have to
they
use
like to
their
go on
vacation,
trips,
You know, they're.
you know, everybody likes to go on a trip, not everybody.
We'll put
Not
you on-
everybody can afford a trip, but, you know, a lot of people do.
We'll put you on a negotiation team,
Oh, I don't know if I'd be good on that, but I will.
but it depends on where it goes, because if you have relatives, you can't
Yeah.
negotiate for
Well, then I should,
dollars.
but dollars, but I would like that to be negotiated, I really would.
Don't bring it up to the committee when we're playing.
So if other schools are able to do this, and they're required to have the same number of days in class as we are.
Yes,
Duluth does to go later.
Pardon
they
me?
go a little bit
Duluth
later,
does go a little
they go
bit.
later, a little bit,
They
until
don't-
June.
I think they all don't have that, like, number of weeks in their contracts.
So basically, you're saying our teachers are saying we're not gonna be in session beyond May 31st, would you say?
It's contractual.
Yes.
right?
It's, so, that's what you're saying, right?
I think I'm saying that, I don't know exactly how the language
But
goes.
it kind of plays in financially too, doesn't it, Alex? Well,
It's the number
we have
of
people
weeks.
that are not working in June, but if they work one day into June, we're liable for benefits.
Yeah, that would be correct.
We have people that have to pay for no benefits
In
from July and August. So by not working in June, district is saving hundreds of dollars, each individual that has insurance.
Well, something to look into, I guess.
Yeah, we can discuss that in negotiations. Okay, thank you. Jeff?
Motion to adjourn.
Without any objection, the motion, or meeting's adjourned. I'd like to thank the audience for coming and putting up with us, and it's 5:40. And have a good evening.